This is the easiest, most compact, and fastest automatic media farm in all of base hexcasting using the power of Create, with rates of 6 stacks of Quenched allay blocks every hour, translating to 9.2 thousand Amethyst per hour, contained within a 5x5x5 block cube, and with almost zero player interaction. This farm is perfect for the ambitious hexcaster who wants to max out their files and explosion size. Now, to build this farm, you need these materials, which translates into these raw materials, and you need this to set up the farm. Now, notably, you need an impetus. That means you need end progression. That means you need to flay the mind of a cleric journeyman villager into that empty impetus, which means you need flay mind. You'll also probably want to get your hands on create a teleport. It'll help out, though you don't need it. You'll also need to find yourself an allay. You don't need a spawn egg, but you do need access to an allay. You'll also need access to brass, 22 brass to be precise. You'll need to get that from the nether. And you'll need a good source of rotational power. To be precise, you need 30 times the RPM you run it at, and this farm will accept RPMs anywhere between 128 and 256. That's up to you. Now, the player also needs to supply Silk Touch and Fortune picks. Fortune is not a necessity, but Silk Touch is, and I would recommend unbreaking on these as well, and as high durability as you can get. Netherite or maybe something higher, depending on the mod pack you're playing in. Fortune increases the efficiency of this farm quite a lot, but that's a decision you'll have to make for yourself. Now, I'll show you how to set up this farm coming up. To create this machine, you have the listed materials, but you also need a few extra things. A lot of these I assume you'll have already as part of your progression, but I'll list them right here. Now, this is using Create. The NBT is on the forums. If you haven't got that link, it should be in the description. First off, you're going to want to take your schematic table and schematic and import it in. Now, I've got different versions just because I've been developing it, but I'll upload the latest version. You'll just have one. Once you've got this, you'll have to put this down with a schematic cannon. You'll pop it down, put that in the schematic cannon with materials to the side, and it'll launch it and build everything. But luckily enough for me, I'm in creative, I don't have to do that. So, I paste it in. But, unfortunately, it does not paste everything. See, around here, this focus is empty, and these slates are unwritten. The first thing that you should do is take this focus and write to it this. Okay? Now, this a list consisting of two things, of which I'll show you. It's got a spell component and a number component. So, the spell, this part, is on the forums. You'll just need to copy that in and write this. And then once you copy that in, you can get it like this. And then you want to take the value of 1/4. And you're going to want to get that in a list together. So we'll just put that in a value of 2 and Flox Gambit it. Like that. And then you can just write that into your focus. Now, that will have it written for you once you've got that. But we're not going to use that till later. So you can put that back where it was. I've made a copy because I'm creative, but you know. Now, once you have done that, you're going to need to write to the spell circle. That is, again, in the forums, but my friend here has them saved, so they're just going to pop these down and put them down like this. So you're going to be wanting to write them like this. This one is not how it might look, necessarily. This is a bigger one. Just refer to how they look in the forums. Alright, now, once that's down, you're going to want to hook this whole thing up to power. As I say in the forums, you can put this in between 128, 256 RPM. You can experiment if you so wish. It could really be anything. And you can hook it up to really any exposed power thing. I typically do this one, but you know. So, you'll do it like this. Go like this. And once you've done that, just ensure that the conveyor belt here is rotating this way. It's feeding into this chute. Now, once you've done that, you can start filling the machine with its amethyst reserves. It's not going to run until it has a bit to start off with. So, my friend here, he'll take all of the amethysts, including the blocks, and come over to the backside around here. You're going to want to place a stack of amethyst blocks into that deployer right there. And it's going to automatically place one of them. So that deployer right down there. And then you're going to want to take exactly 4 stacks and 1 extra. That 1 extra is important. And throw them into this basin. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 stacks, and 1. And the remainder, which is a stack and 63, should go into this upper chute. Perfect. Now, once you've got that,
you're going to want to have your 2 pickaxes, which you'll have down here. Now, you've got a Silk Touch pickaxe and a Fortune pickaxe. The Fortune pickaxe does not necessarily need to have Fortune. This could be a regular pickaxe. It'll just decrease the yield of your machine. If you have any kind of mods, you'll probably want to use some modded pickaxe that has Fortune 10 or something crazy like that. I don't know what your deal is. But you'll also want to enchant these with Unbreaking as well, to make sure they can last longer. If you have Netherite Unbreaking pickaxe, the machine is actually going to run out of storage on this, and it's double chest before they break, so it's not really a massive concern. Now, the Silk Touch pickaxe goes into this lower one down here, and the Fortune pickaxe goes in the other one up here. Perfect. Now, once that's done, we're free to restart this dropper clock, because once you place it down, it doesn't actually automatically start. So you break that observer, put it back down, and place the slate back on top. Now, this isn't actually going to be doing anything yet, so don't worry about it. It's going to fail over here because it hasn't got the focus to read from. Now, you're going to want to take your music disc over here, and you're going to want to place it into this hopper to start the music playing. There you go. Now, this machine can be a bit loud, which is why I would recommend turning down your volume if you don't want to get your ears hurt. Now, here's for the bit of the finicky bit. The hardest part of this farm is finding an allay, which is what I've assumed you've already got. But even when you've got your allay, it's not necessarily going to be massively easy to get it somewhere. So I'll maybe simulate some of the experience of trying to get it into a box here for you, how you can make that easier with hexcasting. I will put it in a little bit of a box to make sure it's possible. So, if you've got your allay floating around somewhere near you, and you want to get it into a destination, first off, you're going to need to grab it, but it might not be hanging around near you. So, what I typically do is get a radius around me, maybe 5 blocks, and then just do a zone distillation, and then just take the top element, and I can just take that. Once I've got the allay, I'm going to need to get its target position. As long as I'm close enough to it, I'll be able to do that, so I'll just keep it in here for now. Its target position, I find easiest to stand the block I'm looking at and then go one behind it like this. It'll be easiest to do it like this. Go around here, drop that under, go there, and then step 1 backwards, and now you've got the target position. Now, you're going to need to teleport it. That's where the teleport comes in handy here. To verify the flame mine, you'll need to make this focus here. Now, the teleport you don't need. If you want, you can try and get this allay into that box there through regular means. I don't think it's particularly fun, but if you don't have teleport, that's how you're going to have to do it. So, I'll assume you have teleport for now. If this allay is allowed to float around, I'd recommend doing the rest of these steps at the same time, just to make sure that you get its current position rather than its past position. And then you can just run it like this, and I'll bring that into there. And that's going to start breeding. Now, your allays are going to start breeding, but it's going to take them a while till they're fully bred up and up to, the magic value here is 96. But you got some things to watch out for. So, as you can see here, they're grouping up into one central bubble. But what you really need is for them to be grouping up into 4 bubbles in the corner. That means you can have a total of 96. Otherwise, it's going to be limited to the 24 of Minecraft Entity Cramming. So, as you might imagine, it's a nightmare to try and get in there to push them around to make sure they're not in just one big clump. And if you just leave them in that clump, they're going to start dying from cramming before they reach the maximum value. So what you need to do is you need to push them around with impulse to make sure they're split up enough to, properly not get crushed to death. So, what you do is you come over here, and just like before, you get that center position. So let's just do that. There we go. Now we've got the center position. All you need to do is just select one, so I'm just going to select whatever one it decides to pick there. Because once you push one, they're all going to get pushed. And then any vector you want. You can stick to the unit directions if you so wish, but that's not really necessary. Now, once you've done that, they should split up. Now, you're going to want these guys. The magic value is 35 minutes. Not too long, not too short. If you leave it over 35, you might run out of amethyst down in the hopper back here, and they're going to stop breeding. And if you don't go long enough, you're not going to have enough. So, that's it. But just keep an eye, make sure they're climbing up properly. If they're not in 4 separate clumps, if they start dying from climbing too early, just impulse them around until they're in those 4 clumps. And you can have a look around in this corner. We're going to do a little bit of a time skip now and show you what it should look like over time. So if we come back through here, this is what it'll look like once you let them bleed for a while. They should all be in 4 clumps like this. And what you're going to want to do is check that you've actually reached that value. It's 96. It doesn't have to be exactly 96. It could be anywhere around 96. Well, it probably won't be above it. But if you're a couple below, it should be fine. So what we're going to do is we're going to get that block. And we're just going to do a range installation of 2. And check the length of that list. Bang on 96. Wonderful. Now, once that's happened, you need to do one more thing, which is place the focus into the item frame. And there you go. The machine should be fully functional. Now, I have turned this one off just for demonstration purposes, so let me pop that music disc back in there. And they'll start breeding, and they'll start generating quenched allays, the excess of which will go into here. And there you are. Now, as for maintenance, you're going to need to make sure these pickaxes stay relatively repaired if you don't have any modded equivalents which are unbreaking. You're going to want to make sure that no server shutdowns, no lag, nothing like that causes these to die. You very well might want to keep a couple backup allays in case these all end up fizzling out for some reason. If you don't breed them up to 96, if you start killing them too early, they are going to all run out over time. So keeping an extra one would be wise. But other than that, this machine is pretty much self-sufficient. It'll get you most of a large chest of quenched allay without you having to do much at all. It's a pretty good machine, if I do say so myself.